I once heard an inspirational speaker say, procrastination is the greatest killer of your dreams. And he said, every morning you wake up, say, do it now, do it now, do it now. And so tonight, man, it's been hard. It's about 9:30, and I've been wanting to shoot an episode for at least the last 2 weeks, but I just allowed everything else to kind of like get in the way. I say, oh, well, I'll edit video from the church. That's the real reason why I'm doing this. Or, I haven't flown my drone in a while, so I'll go fly the drone. But I did have ideas and things that I wanted to do. The people that I wanted to interview just haven't been available. And I'm going through different things. I've met people, tried to have relationships, and all of it, I discovered that I really didn't want to compromise on the vision I had for my life, and also not to put myself in a situation that I'm not ready for, and also making sure that I knew who I am before I put myself in a relationship and try to connect with someone. So, what's up, fam? It's your boy. It's the Stay Strong podcast. And I just want to start out and say thank you all so much for your support. Honestly, sometimes I don't know if I'm making a difference, but to get a text message, to see you all watching the videos, sometimes you all give hearts, sometimes you all give a comment, it makes a difference for me. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is not in vain. But I just want to tell you that I do really want to develop my podcast skills and also develop what I bring as far as content. I do listen to the Y Files. I like the way they bring their content. I also listen to Mr. Ballin. I listen to Kendall Ray, and I do also spend a lot of time listening to talk radio, so I stay abreast of all of the different events that's happening with Iran and the different events that are happening around the world and here locally in Austin. And so you all be patient with me, give me time. I'm going to try to incorporate the things that I've seen in these other podcasts. They do a lot of research. They take what they're doing very seriously. And I just feel like over the past couple of posts I've made on Facebook, my content wasn't as focused, and some of the passion that I had wasn't quite there. So I want to start sharpening my ideas and perfecting the craft. One of the things I know is that, I've been hesitant to record anything because I haven't liked the lighting that I've had. And I can tell you that from my experience, not having the finances to be able to purchase the kind of lights that give me full control, and being able to purchase the kind of equipment that can allow me to live stream and different things of that nature. What I've realized is that makes me feel like my abilities are not there. And I say for you all to shield yourself away from that. A financial situation does not represent your ability. And so hold on to your faith, use the things that you have, and be patient with yourself. It's not always the equipment. What it's about is the content. And so here I am today using the setup that I have. Not always happy with it, but I still got to put out my content. I just want to go into another segment where I say that when we expand our knowledge, we have to be careful about what changes our beliefs. You want to be solid and grounded, and this is what I'm saying. Like what I do every day is, as I study, I've looked into like the Voyage of Gilgamesh. I've looked into the Book of Enoch. I've looked into science and understanding our universe, our world, our galaxy. And there is evidence out there that would challenge the faith that we have in God. People call it Greek mythology, but when you think about what the Bible talks about the angels coming down to the earth, taking the women, the daughters of man, and having children with them, and giving birth to giants, giving birth to those who had significant strength and wisdom. To me, Greek mythology is just an interpretation of what the Bible explains. Also, they say that there is evidence or recorded documents of the flood myth. Now, you see, they call it a myth, but they also say that in every culture around the world, there is a story of a flood, and that a man was visited by a being, we call it an angel. He was visited by God and was told to build an ark and to put the animals. Others say seeds of life, but I believe that is just another interpretation of what our Bible says. There's also other books out there that predate the Bible, but they also talk about many of the stories that happen in the Bible. And so there are other, like in the secular realm, I say, they talk about aligning your chakras, and how once you align them, there is manifestation that you can create the things that you want in this world. And I believe that God is saying the same thing in the Bible. He is saying that your faith is the substance, is the evidence of things hoped for, and the substance of those things that are not seen. And so I see it as the Bible is also giving us those same instructions. He said, meditate on me, and in my will, you can create the things that you want to see here on the earth. And so that's why I say that as you branch out and gain new knowledge, be solid in your faith, because to me, it does not disprove that there is a God, but it just affirms that there is a God. And I was listening recently about our universe, and they're saying that there is a edge or a horizon around the universe, and because our galaxy is expanding at a pace that is so fast, we cannot see what is beyond the horizon. And so there is something that is out there. And I believe that, in the Bible, God said, He said, at this point, you cannot see it all. It's like looking in a mirror, and that mirror is blurred, and you can't completely see your reflection. And He said, one day you'll be able to see it. And I believe that all of these boundaries that we have, the boundary of being here on the earth, the boundary of being in our galaxy, is all designed by God. And as far as they said, there are other dimensions and things. And we also know that in the Bible that there is the spiritual world, and then there is the physical world. And we can also interpret that as being dimensions. We are living in the natural, and God is living in the spiritual. And those are different dimensions. And so, I keep an open mind, and also, I do challenge myself and I say, what if God is not real? What if there is no afterlife? Then, after seeing death of people that I love and people who have died young, the thing is, the world keeps going. Even though I wanted to stop and I wanted to end, like to stop the world from moving, every day the world kept spinning. Every day the sun kept rising, and every day got further and further and further away from that moment that I lost the one that I loved. And so, with that, I began to question, like, what if this is the only life that we have? Am I choosing to wait for God to do something in my life? And I feel like where it's just like the person who is drowning in the ocean. He's like, oh, I'm going to wait until God puts his hand down to me and save me while I'm drowning. But yet, all the time that he was waiting, a boat came and several other things came to be able to set him free, to keep him from drowning. And so when I think about life and how beautiful it is, you have sun, the moon, the stars, you have the ocean, you have the air, you have the sunrise. I mean, there are so many things that are so beautiful here on this earth. You want to go to Jamaica, you want to see those things, go to Jamaica. If you want to go to Australia, go to Australia. Because I feel like it is a disservice to ourselves to not enjoy life. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, because I know rich people who are sad, and I know poor people who are happy. And that's what I'm saying, man. Enjoy this life, because I'm saying it's like it is a disservice to you to believe that you can't have something better. You just got to be patient. I suffer with having patience because I'm 43. I feel like I'm getting too old. I missed having my children. I missed so many different things. But yet, there's still a goal. There's still a vision that I have for my life. And part of me is not willing to settle for something that doesn't make me happy and make me feel satisfied. And so, yes, take the time. Take the time to branch out, read these things, listen to these things, understand these things, but protect your faith and stay grounded. And as I said before, the Stay Strong podcast is not just a biblical podcast. It's a podcast about challenging your mind. We live in a world that doesn't allow us to feel how we feel. It doesn't allow us to just stop talking and just listen. Yes, there are many of us who need mercy from the next person, who needs sympathy and understanding. Because many a times in this life, there are things that happen to us that shape us into the person that we are. And if those things hadn't shaped us into the persons that we are, then the decisions that we would have made would have been different. And so if you're hurting, I have passion for your hurt, because it started back this way. And now we have to relearn how to be a person again. It's like learning how to walk all over again. Walking was a very difficult thing for us to learn how to do. And so learning to become a new person is a whole difficult thing to do. And so I say to you all, don't settle, don't procrastinate, be patient. Don't let limitations make you feel like there is something in you that is failing. And don't let your faith be altered by these parallel stories that are out there. I believe that God is real. I believe that there is an afterlife. But I also believe that God wants me to live. And to me, he says it in his Bible. He says the life that you live will affect the life that you have in heaven. And Jesus said, I'm praying for you that you shall have heaven here on earth. And so I try to stand on that, and I try to find a foundation in that based in God's word. Yes, I'm filled with doubt, and sometimes I'm filled with fear, and many a times I am filled with regret. But the deeper I study, the more I see that there are many, many people in the Bible, recorded history, that felt the same way. And so there's no reason for me to feel bad about the doubts and the worries that I have. Because there is no strength without struggle. There's no growth without resistance. And so the thing is, life has taught me to be patient, and yet I still struggle with being patient all the time. But somebody who sees me from years ago, they look at me and say, man, I can't believe how patient you are. Man, I can't believe how much you've grown. Man, I can't believe how much God has blessed your life. And while I'm living it, I don't see it. But they come to me and say, hey, I see a difference in you. And so, my friends, I just pray that I was able to give you something. I will, I'm about to say I want to, but I will begin to focus my podcast. I will begin to do the research. And I believe that because of that research, it's going to take time for me to come back and bring more content. But I do plan on making sure that it is focused, it is well put together, and it is not just random and just all over the place. All right, fam. Appreciate you. Pray you all have a wonderful day. Pray you all have a wonderful night. Pray you all have a wonderful rest of the month. You be easy, fam. Peace. What's up, fam? I did get a chance to fly the drone this week. And so, after my main video, I will be putting in some video of some of the drone shots. I was in Copper's Cove, and I got to fly in the hills of Copper's Cove. It was pretty cool, and I really wanted to include that in this episode of Stay Strong. All right, folks, thanks for your support once again. Family, have a great night. I'll see you later. Peace out.